Yeah, because I mean, and there's some, and I think I'm going to go on the record, and I think every garden should have a trellis in it. I think it adds visual appeal. I think it adds diversity. I think it saves space. I think it helps with disease, helping to find pests and stuff like that. So I think every garden should have some kind of trellis. I don't think that melons, and I know in today's day and age it's unpopular, but I don't think they should be grown on trellises. It's just not optimal, because once you get that fruit, and I mean, look, you can get a 50-pound watermelon if you grab the wrong kind of seed, and then you got to hammock the watermelon, you got to baby it and all that stuff. So obviously the size of the plant's the issue, but what's the number one question you get about watermelons, Batavia?
When is it going to be ready to pick?
Yep. Or how do I know when to
Hmm.
harvest it? Right. And so
Hmm.
that makes it a little bit more difficult.
Well, yeah, for sure. I mean, I think so. For the record, I let the record show that I have only grown melons using a trellis. I've only grown them vertically. And if I didn't have to grow them vertically, meaning I don't want to commit any other space to grow them in a more traditional way inside of a raised bed, I don't want to, like, I could grow them in the cage baby, starting at one end of the cage baby and let it continue to grow that 30 feet of the cage baby, right? But I don't want to just grow melons there. So anyway, I've grown melons successfully vertically, but it is a bit more of a pain, right? And if I didn't have to do it that way, then I wouldn't. I am also particular about the type of melon that I grow based on the size it's going to mature to. I don't want a 20-pound watermelon to be hanging and dangling off of my trellis, right? Like, I am, everything in me is trying to combat animals from coming into my garden. I can just, and this is the pessimist part of me, even in the garden, I could just visualize that 20-pound watermelon that I've rigged up. I go in the house, and at some point at 5 a.m., before I get out to the garden, it falls. And by 7 a.m., I have all kinds of critters that have come in and enjoyed that cracked watermelon. Like, that's my vision.
See,
So,
my
with that in
vision is a little
mind,
bit different.
uh-oh.
My vision is that watermelon falls and cracks that I've been watching for weeks. And then I go out
Uh-huh.
there and find it, and I flip my lid and rip the trellis out of the ground and walk away. That's
You
my
didn't let me
vision.
finish. That's exactly what. So my solution is to grow smaller melons, right? And so that has been successful for me. But again, it's not in just your plain raised bed. The plants are inside of a raised bed that a trellis is connected to. So as soon as you insert the trellis, I feel like that's not what Better Home and Gardens is describing, which, I mean, I'm ready to vote on melons.
Well, I want to say one more thing
Mhm.
before we do the Better Home and Gardens vote. Um, Inconsistent watering is a major
Mm.
issue for the consistency of the inside of the flesh of the melon. So it adds a little bit more complexity to it.
One more note, if you're growing melons and other things in that garden space, in that raised bed, it is a formula for over or under watering the melon based on the watering needs of the other things too. So it's a great point about
Yeah.
watering.
So in the space of the melon, if your vine grows, and let's just put an average of 20 feet, because
Hmm.
that's a conservative average. 20 feet. What? Just listener, gardener, think about what else you could put in that space.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
say you about it being easy or hard?
Hard. So the what we're voting on is basically the score is going to be Better Home and Garden. Do they pass or fail? Not
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do they pass or fail? Yay or nay?
Fail.
Fail.
No.
Absolutely fail. Okay. The next one. This is a weird one, by the way.
Yeah.
This one is very odd to me, I have to say. And I have grown them. Daikon radishes.
Uh-huh.
Daikon radishes. Okay. Um, what the hell? So first of all, why would you not lump that with anything else,
Carrots and yeah.
carrots or anything? And spoiler alert, the number one easiest. Never mind. We'll come
Okay.
into that one at the end. The number
You're
one
just giving it
easiest.
all away today,
I
boy.
know. I just airing out my dirty draws, ain't I? So daikon radishes. All right. What do you think right off the bat? I have a definitive
Um,
answer because out of experience, but I'm going to let you go first.
yeah, so I'd say no, that it's not easy. There is definitely some nutrition to be considered. Not to say that that's not um, that's not a concern when it comes to raised beds and anything else, but length of time for them to grow, and they're a part of the big pool is that they're a larger radish, right? So even if we scan through the article, they talk about like they can get 20 inches long. And they're like, but if you got a bed that's at least 12 inches deep, then you'll be fine. It's kind of like, well, why? That math doesn't quite math. Like, you could have gotten away with saying any regular or traditional radish could have made this list. So,
Yeah.
no.
Okay. So daikon radishes, easy to germinate, get really big. Here's the deal. If you plant them next to a brassica, it will inhibit the growth of the brassica. Plain and simple. Seen it, done it. I got the badge, I got the patch, I got whatever you want to call it. I've done it. So I didn't realize it until after I planted it, but it was an issue. So that being said, that's incredibly difficult, right? Because
Yeah.
now you're factoring on a bunch of crap that you have to deal with. Now, on
You're
the
limiting that space
yes,
based on that reason. Yeah.
on the opposite end, we go all the way back to the first one, and we were discussing the soil underneath, and you have a shallow bed. These are great to grow as a cover crop because they are known as
They're
tillage
diggers.
radishes, and they
Yeah.
get very big. Um, I will be completely honest. I have one recipe for daikon radishes. I do like it. I do not. I have not seen a plethora of recipes for it. So, which by the way, we missed it last time, but our recipes of the day are coming back on the subscriber episodes. So if you want those, next one we'll have two because we forgot.
Mm-hmm.
So, um,
Bonus.
yep. And I've been told that I have to give my tomato pie recipe. So there you go.
I'm so excited.
But yeah,
There are a
so
lot of things that I miss about the garden. I miss cucumbers from the garden. I miss fresh green beans from the garden. I miss herbs from the garden. I miss tomatoes, just generally speaking. But when it comes to a meal, an actual dish that I miss from the garden, tomato pie. Just chills. I'm so excited this season.
so
Oh, real quickly, and I have a smaller version that I can make, which means I can eat it more often. I don't have to worry about a whole
yeah,
pie. So yeah, uh-huh.
absolutely. All
I
right.
am not gonna make it out of this summer, man. You know how many calories are anyway, all right, go ahead. All
Well, I got a low fat version too.
right. Oh, dude, who wants that?
I do. Who wants and needs are two different things.
Yeah, yeah, definitely,
As my
definitely.
stepdad used to say, you can want in one hand and shit in the other and see which one fills up first. It was never what I wanted, that was for
Oh,
sure.
yeah, yeah. Okay.
So nay. I'm just gonna
Okay.
say it. What do you
Okay.
say?
Mine was nay.
Yeah. I mean, the complexity behind what you grow with it is a real issue. A
Yeah.
real issue. So
Leonard, we're 3 inaccurate votes against